Have you ever had a feeling which makes you feel almost unqualified to come back to a game you used to be somewhat good at, but it now seems almost too difficult to get back into because everyone got better while you've only lost most of your skills? Well, I most certainly have. As some people say, the New Settlers title is overly too simplified. I would argue the opposite based simply on this feeling alone. Anyway, here we are. Sit back, relax and enjoy watching a player with well over 300 hours on this title looking like a complete amateur. Now, I would like to take a little different approach from what I've been doing with Shumi before, because we've mostly been doing our voiceovers with the assumption that you, our viewers, know what's going on in our videos. And that might have been wrong. And since I'm coming back into the game with little reminiscence of the knowledge I had before about how to play this, I will just comment on what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and maybe that way, if you're a new viewer, you'll understand me a little bit better. So now, the opening is usually pretty much the same. You want to get your sawmills going as soon as possible, which we've mentioned many times before, because you've got some starting logs right out of the bat in the storage in the warehouse that you're spawning with, and those need to be processed into planks, right? So you need those sawmills as soon as possible. You've also got some fishes from the beginning, so you can boost these sawmills. That means you get double the production, double the amount or the yield from those sawmills. Now, that was a quick introduction to boosting your stuff, your production chains, which simply only works by feeding the respective buildings that are being used to produce the certain currency or ingredient or just material you need. And then, okay, moving far from those sawmills. Those need to be fed with logs. So obviously we need some logging camps, which are being built right now on our screen. I have chosen two places for my logging camps because A, some trees are regrowing, some are not, and B, I need a lot of planks, a lot of wood at the beginning, as you can see on top of my screen, where I'm mostly missing planks right now. Stone is just fine for me right now. So yeah, focusing on the wood production at the beginning, and you can also see me moving my 3 of my archers, my only troops, which I'm starting with, and I'm moving them towards little bandit camp, so to call it. It's actually a landmark, and you'll see in just a bit what this landmark does. So we've got our basics. We've got our stone production, we've got some logs, and a little production chain with sawmills to turn them into planks. Now, as you can see, blinking on top of my screen again, in red, I am losing, or I don't have any free residential spaces. That means no new settlers are being born or produced, whatever you want to call it, and that's that's never good. That's actually the worst thing that can happen to your economy within this game. And I'm gonna come back to that, but first let's focus on what I'm doing here. You can see that I've got 3 archers, which is amazing to kite little bandit camps such as this one. Now, when you do this, you want to focus the archer first, obviously, because that's the only bandit or enemy troop that can actually reach your archers as well. After you get that or kill him, you can focus on the others. And why am I doing this, actually? Well, as you could see right now, there is a little landmark in the bottom right corner. And if you actually complete this landmark, you get some weapons. And you can use those weapons to produce very early units. That's a specific playstyle for this map in particular. And to be honest, I'm not very familiar with this map. If you're a good player, you probably see that I suck quite a bit. But I'm doing my best. I've never been much of a 1v1 player. And actually, just to quickly introduce my enemy, it's another player who's level 30. I had no previous interactions with him, so I have no idea, or while I was playing this, I had no idea whether he is or whether he isn't any good. But I won't spoil anything just yet. So I'm trying to free this landmark or make my way to it, so that I can use my engineers to carry some needed tools, actually 5 tools, which will then unlock the reward when brought into the landmark, and the reward will give me those weapons as I said before. Now, during that, I'm focusing on claiming more territory. I'm moving to get berries, and let's see why am I doing this. Now, berries are used for various purposes. You can actually use them for its own production chain, but I'm not gonna get into that just now.
Where can I help? Let's get to work.
The thing is, I want to use those berries to boost my tool production, because the toolmaker, well, those toolmakers, they like to eat them some berries. And when they do, it works the same way as the sawmill does, as I've explained before. And therefore, I'm gonna get double the yield of tools when they're made, which is amazing, because to get one tool done, you're actually combining stone and planks. So tools are quite expensive from the beginning of the match. But to be honest, you can see on top of my screen again, I have quite a few extra resources. Usually I've been always balancing on 0 resources when I was playing before, because I was way more effective in my attempts to well, manage my economy. But I'm out of my game, right? So this is not gonna be ideal. So if I was to somewhat maximize the usage of all my yields or my production chains, I would have been hovering somewhere over the, let's say, edge of depleting all of my resources, which I'm not currently, and I think I won't be for quite a while, because to be honest, I don't feel quite so certain about the strategy I want to go for. I know that I need to focus on those basics, which are these residential areas, getting me more citizens, more settlers, so that I can build more buildings, produce more units in the future and stuff like that. Yeah, that's always true, but I don't really know what to do. The landmark is something I've kind of remembered is a good choice when you're trying to play this map. But I don't know. There are new options how to play it, because you know the developers, they've added some new production chains with the ability to make your own coal right now. You can make your own coal from burning wood. You can burn wood at the how's the building called? I don't think I won't remember that. I don't remember that. Anyway, doesn't matter. You can create your own coal, which completely changes various scenarios with which or in which you could have played the game before. For example, if I already produced some coal right now from my logs that I'm actually having available from the beginning of the match, I could have already been building this iron mine, which is currently or on the node that's been found just a few moments ago. So I'm gonna skip a little or move a little from all these in-depth explanations, and let's just cut it. All right, let's make a little summary. What I've done, I've established my general productions. That's stone, planks, some additional berries, and I'm expanding towards some military production, for which I need the iron. I also need the coal. That's situated to the eastern side of the map, to the right. On the western side of the map, to the left, where I'm expanding as well, I actually remember there will be some gold and there will be additional stone production, which I'm going to be using later. So I'm not focusing on that so much right now. Gold's fine, but don't get me wrong, I love gold units, but from the beginning you need a lot of units in 1v1 maps. Or, to be honest, so I was told. I'm so lucky, or I was lucky to have Baranek, my old friend from the Settlers community, on Discord, who actually gave me some advice and told me to remember that 1v1 maps are quick military rushes usually. Especially this map, because it's really open and you can get rushed quite fast. At the moment we are 10 minutes in to the match, and to be honest, some fast and well-trained Yorn players would have probably been able to attack me already. I don't know the exact timings of this, but just to quickly give you an idea of what I'm talking about, Yorn players are players who really focus on quick military, because Yorn faction has a lot of advantages moving into the military production. They've got cheaper blacksmiths and all these kind of buildings. I can't really remember the exact numbers, but it's there. So, I would like to jump a bit in time so that we can move to the more interesting part, where I actually meet my enemy. So let me make a little cut here. So, with this transition, we've jumped just about 20 minutes into the future, and we've skipped mostly just building some additional production. The last thing you've seen me doing was building some hunting cabins to get some meat production, which I wanted to use for boosting or for feeding my my furnaces, my blacksmiths, and some other buildings too. Those are already built. As I've mentioned before, those are built to the east, to the eastern mining area, and I've also expanded to the west. But currently, I'm thinking about moving my units, or just one guardian to be precise, into this middle landmark area. I'm gonna kite this bandit camp a little further to the south, away from the other one who's going through on the north. In the meanwhile, I'm also checking the other side, whether or not it's being attacked, or whether those bandits are still there. They are there, and that's what I wanna see, because if the bandits are still there, I'm quite fine. Now, this guardian, is gonna stay here for about, I think it was 2 minutes, and when this timer runs out and the landmark gets completed, there will be a unit spawn. Friendly units for me will spawn there, and it will be some rituals who are healers, and they can also buff your units tremendously if you research them enough. And there will also be some additional siege units, which I probably won't have a lot of use for. Now, on the right here, you can also see the finished landmark where the 5 tools were brought, and those engineers are just picking up those weapons I've mentioned before. So currently, I'm running the military production, the weapon production on the eastern side of my mining areas. You can see that on top of my screen, to the top left. And I'm also supplying some additional weapons from this landmark in particular. But if you see, I've just been checking my resources, and I've got a tremendous amount of stones and planks, and you can see that my economy is not optimal, because I should have been using these, and I should have been maximizing the utility of it. Now, the best thing you probably can always do, if you're not sure what to do with your additional resources, is build more residences, because you will always find the use for your additional carriers, for your additional settlers who will be turning into any kind of military, any kind of warriors. But anyway, I'm in population trouble right now, because I didn't remember to do this. And currently I'm trying to just utilize the maximum out of my current warriors or current military to spread them around, so that I at least have some visibility, at least some eyesight around the critical areas, which are actually quite a few on this map. You know, there are 3 main open spaces: the eastern, the middle, and the western side. I know that I'm protected, at least on 2 of those sites because there are bandits all over the place. But I can't tell the size of my enemy's military, of my enemy's army by this point, because it's 33 minutes in. I don't know whether he's yawn, but he doesn't even have to be by now. He can have, I don't know, maybe over 100 units already, if he's good. Or maybe even mediocre. So I'm quite scared. I'm glad that I got those middle units though from the landmark. Now, just a few minutes before, when I was blabbling all about the landmark and stuff, you could see this exactly. The academy. I've got some basic upgrades for my military, that being their damage and their health, and I'm planning to expand this research as much as possible. I will most probably unlock the additional tree, because you've got the first 2 trees available right from the beginning at the academy, but the additional trees you have to unlock using 10 tools and some additional materials combined with that. But it usually provides a lot of advantage, those additional skill trees that you can expand to and you can research. Now, you can, aside from the insane amount of resources I've got right now, I mean, I could have built so many things with 60 planks and 50 stones. It's crazy. Not to mention that I've got 13 tools together with that. But aside from that, I've got 30 shields for my guardians, 3 what's that called? 3 bows for my archers, and well, I don't even know how many axes I've got, but I could have had at least double the army I've got right now, which I can't produce because, well, I don't have the population for it. So that brings us back to the previous idea, when you're missing some like general idea what to do, when you're missing when you're unsure what to build, always build residences. It's just the easiest and the most like clear good option that's always there. And remembering my previous playstyles, I feel really open right now. I don't think I should have really built some defenses, considering that I don't have any army. I'm being quite skeptical about this position in particular. And yeah, you can see these landmarks actually recharge themselves, so you can use them all over again. It's not just one-time thing, which actually surprised me by quite a bit the first time I've played this map, which was quite a while ago. Now, a good idea to do when you've got this many weapons stacked, and you're just waiting for your population to pop up or pop in and just get available for you to utilize those weapons. A good idea to do is just to simply prepare some additional training grounds for those troops near the warehouse, because most of those weapons will be stored in the warehouse, right? And you can see that I can expand all these researches, and I'm gonna get probably to the... I didn't press any of those researches. Okay, I'm going for the citizens research, which is the additional tree, and I hate that because I'm all open here. I've got only 30 units, not even that, and it's 37 minutes in. I should have had those basic military researches which are in the left tree by now, because those will provide you with additional health, with additional damage to your units, and that means all of them, not just one kind of or something like that. That's huge. That's insanely important. So citizens should not have been the main goal to go for. But one thing I've done right is the previous research, and that, you might have noticed, has insanely boosted my amount of free residential space, because those like, I don't know, those 14 or 12 bread pieces and a few tools, it has researched one additional living space per residence. Considering how many residences I've got, and I'm a Lari, so I'm building residences faster and cheaper, that's huge. That's probably one of the most important researches for a Lari whatsoever. So I'm glad I did at least that before the citizens research, or before getting to the citizens tree. Now, I'm moving to get some additional bows, because usually when you've got enough defenders, you also want to combine them with archers. It just makes sense. Defenders don't have much damage. They've got a lot of health, but not all of them can reach the enemies soon enough. And if the enemy has enough archers, you're pretty much in a very bad position, very bad spot. But you can see that my population is steadily rising, and I'm starting to feel a little better, because I know that I'm on the edge of being able to get some additional units, and that's huge for me. I'm also finally utilizing those additional resources I've got, and I'm expanding to build additional defenses, or rather defenses, period, because I can't use the word additional when I didn't build any, right? Anyway, this is kind of controversial, because on one side it is somewhat smart to build defenses in this stage, right? But if you're new to this game, you're probably not seeing it. But anyone experienced will tell me, or tell you, if you're having population issues, you should definitely not
Enemy in sight.
build any new big buildings that are not necessary, such as the towers, because it will use more of your carriers and less settlers will be available. But you can see me, I'm taking my settlers back, I'm calling them back, and I'm very hastily creating additional units, and I'm scared. I need to fall back, and I need to those few mines there. They're done. I need to run back because my enemy is here. His army isn't nearly as big as it could have been, which is good. I don't know whether they are researched, but they are at least double the amount of mine, and that's just scary. I can already imagine more are on their way. Hope not. But there's still the bandit camp, and he doesn't know how many units or how many defenses I've got, which is probably the only thing that's saving my ass right now. You can see me, I'm crazily building some additional defenses, and I'm scared. I'm scared right there. I'm even utilizing this additional training ground, which I've only built to be closer to the gold production, so that I could build the gold units there. But I'm not even using it for that. I need the basic ones. I need defenders to defend. Luckily for me, and I could use that in the future. I saw, or I checked with my spies, scouts actually, and with their vision ability. I've checked whether or not the enemy has defenses, and I now know that he doesn't. And going back to this additional third citizens research tree, it might actually come to some use, because the research I'm researching right now, and it's gonna get finished within a few seconds. Right now, yeah, there it goes. This research will allow me to get some additional damage on friendly areas, on my claimed areas, which is huge. That's amazing. But I don't think it is nearly as good as the basic researches would have been, the basic health and the basic damage. And you can see me stopping the boosts. Yeah, so that I got some extra free bread, so that I can start this first research, which is really crucial, and I can't believe I still don't have it by now. Or at least I've got some, but I don't have all the levels. But I feel like I got lucky there. I feel like one of my towers is gonna come up at least. I am recruiting some of my additional units, and I have finished some of the crucial researches. So I feel like I could survive if he attacks me, but it will be it will be really close. So we're gonna jump to the future, just a bit, not so much as before, because I've explained what's going on, I've explained all the additional production chains and stuffs that's been built, and I just need to see when he attacks, and he's, oh yeah, I've got a minute to go, because he's just waiting to get these additional units from the center, from the landmark. So let's skip to that and see what he does. And here he goes. You can see him down on the minimap, and I need to react quickly. It was actually, I got a little more time because he needed to wait there for a little longer, and I'm planning on recalling on him. And yes, here I go. I need to order them to attack, which I did, and I'm using the ability of my gold units, the Arbalist, which is an area of effect damage dealing arrow, which is just going through the straight line of his troops, which is amazing. But I'm quickly losing my troops as well, because I've got 37 of them and there are no healers whatsoever. But he does have them. He does have healers, but he's retrieving. That's amazing, because I wouldn't have won this. He's got healers, that's true. They can't attack. But I don't think I would have been able to push through them. I think he would have been able to out-heal me right there. The fact that he's not proceeding further is huge. That I could have been dead by now. Because as soon as the enemy gets within the lines of your production chains, you're baked. You're done. Because you can't do much more with that. As soon as any of your workers see the enemy's troops, they will start running, they will panic, and any of your production chains will just stop. You can see these little attack markers, which is a new indicator above your production buildings, and it will show that those buildings are near combat or within an area of attack, and those buildings will stop their production, which is just terrible when that happens, because you feel like you still have the majority of your area under control. You still have the majority of your buildings up and running, or would be running, but there are no people, no settlers to work with them or in them. So that's really a horrible feeling. It's horrible to watch your empire die in this game. But on the other hand, it's very well done on the animation side of things, and sound effects are also amazing, because your settlers, if they see the enemy's troops, they really start to panic. They're running, they're screaming. You can hear the individual voices almost, and you can kind of feel their fear to a certain level. Obviously, the game is a bit, not to say cartoonish, but it's obviously stylized. It's not realistic. But even despite that, you can really see, kind of, or feel the fear when the enemy enters your lines, or actually breaks your lines of defense and gets into your city. Now, I've got 70 units by now. I've got multiple training grounds running, and I've got enough, I had, and I'm still having a lot of weapons running. So I'm feeling confident to get just a little in front of this defeated bandit camp that used to be here, because the enemy defeated this for me, but I want to get those additional rewards, which he didn't claim, obviously. He's a little further away from this than I am, and I can utilize my my engineers, who are actually sleeping right now, which is ineffective. Point to me to improve. But anyway, yeah, it is ineffective to have sleeping engineers, and I hope I'm gonna use them as soon as possible to carry those rewards in the bandit camp.
Recruitment complete.
I'm not. Okay, oh, this is painful to watch. You can see that I'm panicking. I'm uncertain what to do first. I'm even checking what resources I've got. Yeah, finally, I've noticed. You know, in any kind of strategy game, if you've got some production units, such as engineers in this instance, some builders and stuff like that, gatherers, you always want to have them utilized. I think there's even a stat in Age of Empires which tells you how many and there's seconds. It's in seconds. How many seconds you've spent with your workers idle? It is really the best players in Age of Empires, if I recall correctly. They are kind of trying to reach the point where they have almost zero or very close to zero idle time on their builders and stuff like that, and that's huge. That's considering the fact that there is no auto build or a feature like that in Age of Empires, which there is in the Settlers. Once again, a little bit simplified. I'm gonna get back to that, but I just want to quickly address the thing that I'm just doing right now. I'm researching the how, and when I've explained the additional troops that you can get from the middle landmark, I've been mentioning some ritualists, some healers, and I've said that they can boost your units tremendously if you actually unlock these boosts. And that's the howl, mainly, most importantly. The howl is a boost, a buff, that can temporarily increase the damage of your troops by 50 or even by 100% if you've got it researched to the maximum level. And that's just insanely strong. I'm very lucky that the enemy didn't have that research when he attacked me, because if he did, we wouldn't be here anymore. But anyway, I want to skip ahead a little, because there will be quite a bit of additional military production, but I'm not gonna build any more production chains. There's no reason in that. There's no point. I just want to quickly go back before I do that. Before I skip again, I want to quickly go back to the idle time discussion. There is just a few players, I think, who can actually utilize all of the engineers within this game without the auto build option. Like, I mean, organizing your engineers manually is insanely difficult in this game. I mean, really, everyone says that this game's economy is simplified, and I agree, it is. But it is also difficult somewhere else. It is difficult. I think you kind of have to be quick, but you also have to take your time with organizing your economy. Otherwise, you're gonna fail somewhere. You're gonna make bad decisions. So that's it. It's just a little addition. Almost no one is controlling their engineers by hand in this. And once again, I'm gonna probably wait for this middle landmark to finish, so that I can get my ritualists again, those healers, and my buffs before I attack him. I just saw, I used the vision ability from the scouts. I saw how big his army is, and it is actually not that big, which is great for me. And he also didn't have any defenses from what I saw. So let's skip a little bit ahead again, so that I've got those healers ready. My army gets a little bit bigger. I don't think anything else will happen. And we'll see whether or not I can actually push through. So we've skipped ahead just a few minutes, 2.5 to be precise, and I want to check on the enemy's army again. And there's an additional thing that I've just seen, and that's the fact that the enemy is building defenses and I can't allow that. I need to attack him as soon as possible. And I've got 6 of my healers, that's plenty enough to boost all my troops with hull. I also have got ooze, which is a slow, an area of effect slow for the enemy's troops, which is huge, combined with the area of effect attack of the arbalists, the golden units. I've got 10 of them within this army, and I feel really confident. Slowing the enemy with ooze, which is hopefully gonna come down. Okay, there's no point in it coming down. Why haven't it come down? Never mind. Hull is the most important thing, and my units are hulled. My arbalists are using their area of effect attack, and you can see it just slicing through the enemy. Now I need to use them. Exactly, yeah. And you can see him making a big mistake by stopping here. He needs to retreat, yeah. But I think he's done wrong is he left his most important part of his city open. he has left open his military production. So almost no additional units will be able to come in when I enter this area. And you can see the strength of the hull. He wasn't also fighting on his area, meaning that he didn't have that research either. And that's the point I've been talking about. Look at them, look at the voices, or listen to the voices, listen to them screaming, running away. No, none of these settlers will work anymore. They can't work here because they're just too scared and they need to run away. They will block the production. You can see them making huge columns, or not columns, queues on the roads, and just blocking themselves. It's just mayhem, and I actually love how they've done that, because it usually was like that within the settlers, right? When your production, your economy got damaged, it was always really hard to come back in the settlers, and it's probably one of I can't really speak to all of the titles, but I feel like it's really well done here. I'm just enjoying it right now. I could just keep attacking, and you can also see that the enemy has actually built a warehouse here, which I didn't. We've come to the not to the decision, but to the observation that building warehouses in this game is actually it's not meaningless. It's actually hurting you, because, well, if you build a warehouse, it costs you a lot of resources. But if you're building your economy correctly, your production chains will just add on, follow up on each other, and therefore you don't need any warehouses in between them. They will just carry the right stuff into the right buildings, which are connected and following up on each other. So you don't need any additional warehouses in between, which is really a bummer in my opinion, because well, warehouse was always so important in the Settlers series, and it is absolutely meaningless. It is like a debuff. It is so stupid that that it hurts you to build a warehouse. But it's that's completely another chapter. I'm probably switching from one topic to another all over this video, but I hope you're taking at least some of my messages here, some of what I'm trying to say. But the ultimate goal in this game, if you're not going for any additional objectives, which some of the maps have, this doesn't. This one doesn't. So some of them has. Additional objectives are always different, but the main one, and usually the only the most fun one, is to go for the military victory, which can be achieved by destroying the enemy's warehouses. In this instance, it was the one to the left which is done, this middle one, the starting one, which I've destroyed right now, and he will probably have one additional to the right. I can't imagine any other place where he would have any other. And yeah, exactly, he's got a warehouse right there, in a rather particular position, right on the mining area. That's something I could have done previously. I would probably block my mining nodes with that if it was me to build it like that. But that's old history, I hope. But you can see that this side is very well defended. I also got a little peek at the middle entrance to his city, and that was also well protected. The only side he didn't cover with towers was actually the main important one. So I won. I'm glad, but I didn't play well. So hopefully it's gonna be better next time. Thanks for watching, and hopefully see you in the tournament. Join the community, and bye.